Welcome, everybody, to the Nottaku Podcast. We are back in... Well, yeah, we're back. Say
what you will about the Hugh Rebellion. At least it was an effective regime.
Check the fucking clock. How long was that?
Hello, everyone.
Did we make it 10 seconds?
Not even close. Not even close. Hello, everyone.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but who needs intros? Intros are overrated.
True enough.
Alastair, you sit down and you're like, oh, I'd like to introduce the podcast, and now you're like, overrated.
Who needs an intro? Hello, everyone. This is the Nottaku Podcast. I'm now hijacking this motherfucker. I'm Lewis. I wanted to speak first because I wanted to give my intro first. I am the podcast equivalent of winter 2019 / the start of 2019. I don't know the distinction. I have already produced more quality content than 2018 combined.
I'm Hugh. I'm the podcast equivalent of the main character from Kaguya-sama. You know Kaguya. As in, everyone's looking at someone else except for me.
Aww.
Who's Kaguya?
Exactly.
I'm Ben.
Watashi wa Ben-san.
Watashi wa Ben-san. I'm the guy whose anniversary it is today, and instead of spending time with his girlfriend, he's recording a fucking podcast.
Happy birthday, dear relationship.
She doesn't listen to this,
Jesus,
though, right?
Ben.
No, she doesn't like anything he does. Fucking no wonder they're separating. Oh, no.
Kate, with the exception of Ben, we all care about you deeply.
He doesn't watch this.
I was gonna say, you can't watch it. It's an audio format. Joe.
Of course, sorry.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm the podcast equivalent of last season, already irrelevant.
I don't know. Last season produced the Atlanta Falcons.
Another one.
Why are we dropping Simpsons?
Because it's the only good meme. Alastair, what's today's podcast about?
As you can see by people's introductions, today's podcast is kind of about the anime that we're currently watching, most of which is this season shit. So we're talking about winter anime 2019, basically.
Dude, can I get the controversy out of the way first?
Oh.
Go ahead.
I do not think we should protect the raccoon.
I mean,
That's
the
an interesting
raccoon
start. Shield Hero.
protects herself. But...
Let's get there in a minute. First of all, I would like to fucking say, God, these anime openings for this season are fucking lit.
Anime openings. Don't sequester away the first 90 seconds. Everything this season is just good. I don't know what's happened. I like 3 currently airing things.
Also,
Yeah.
3 is not everything, Lewis.
It's fucking crazy. The amount of stuff that I like as well, and me and Lewis are ones that are like, I can't really do ongoing anime as much. It's
Critically, we don't do ongoing anime, and it's shit that both Ben and I are like, oh yeah, that's fucking gold. Like, we agree on it too.
I do love the fact that you two are actually into this season. It's great because it means I can talk about stuff with people, like a broader variety of people.
but it does mean we don't get.
I get it, Hugh. You just don't value my opinion.
Me and you on Sunday had a long, drawn-out conversation about what we thought about Shield Hero and how we would personally change it. So you don't get to play the no one talks to me about anime card.
I didn't say you didn't talk to me about it. It's just that you didn't value my opinion.
Look, I don't think anyone values my opinions, nor does anyone just value me.
Boys!
This is not a self-deprecation.
You're gonna cry?
You're gonna
cry, boys?
Hugh! You gonna fucking cry?
You gonna cry?
I'm always crying, that's what I do.
So, Alastair, what's our first topic if it's not the Rising the Shield Hero? If you say Rising the Shield Hero, I will fuck your asshole.
Pick something else.
Okay, let's get these quickly out of the way. Let's just quickly mention the shows that we previously have talked about and that are continuing this season and what they're still like, because this will take like 2 minutes and then we can move on. So how are JoJo and Sword Art going?
JoJo's mediocre in comparison to every other JoJo.
Yep, unfortunately so.
I've
so
pretty much
mediocre.
dropped it.
I've dropped it. It's so mediocre. I'm probably going to watch it eventually, but I'll probably just to catch up for part 5. As far as Sword Art, I'm saving up to binge watch it because I'm really liking Alicization.
I'm still in JoJo. I think the most recent episodes are stronger. I like JoJo a lot. I think the only issue that JoJo's currently having is that JoJo forgot it had a main character for like 10 episodes.
Joyous.
And then this, like, the last episode, it just went, oh god, Giorno still exists, and they tried to find him something to do.
The best memes that came out of that fucking show were the great ones where, like, Giorno has only met, like, 2 stand users, and thus far, he's met one that A, has personality issues, and B, needs to be fed. He's wondering if he's looking after his stand wrong. Like, he's got to, surely.
My favourite meme that I've seen come out of JoJo recently, the fact that one of the main characters looks just like a buff version of Phileas or Ferb. I can't remember which one.
Oh, yeah, no, I know what you mean. I do know who you mean. But yes,
Pineapple head, dude.
JoJo's mediocre. Meh, Sword Art. Joe, are you still watching Alicization as it comes out, or are you saving it?
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'd say...
What's cooking good looking?
I'd say past 2 episodes took, I think, a small hit in the animation, but it's still completely solid and definitely worth watching. I'm not going to go too much into it because, as you say, you're saving up.
I think that's what happens in long-running shows, though. You always have to have a dip during the middle. I think it's good. I like it a lot.
Can I give one quick honourable mention, just while we're on the topic of animation, to something which finished last year, because it's related?
Oh, go on.
So after Ben's recommendation, I finished all of Baki. And toward the end of Baki, it's very clear that they had, like, lower amounts of money and they had animation issues. They did the good thing. They saved their CGI for quick motion scenes where it was less obvious that things were CGI. That's what you do at a low budget. That's what you do. You got to gracefully integrate it. So well done to the Baki team.
Well, can we get a like? Come
on, like, favor, subscribe, hit that bell
for the Baki team.
Everyone but Alastair clapped. All right, Alastair, what's the next topic?
I think Alastair's Discord and internet.
I think his Discord may
Right.
have died.
Here now, but like,
In which case, boys, you know what's happening? I'm taking a moment to talk about an anime. An anime that I watched recently that we should talk about quite, and by recently I mean today. Can we talk about DSP plays Resident Evil 2 remake?
No, we cannot. No, we cannot.
As much as I'd love to, that is too off topic.
Kinsey.
That is the
What is the
joke.
first topic?
Alastair, pick an anime.
now we've covered that stuff. Let's move on to new shit. Fuck it, since we already mentioned it, let's start with Shield Hero.
Oh, we can't possibly talk about that first,
I
Lewis.
genuinely thought because you were going to go because we already mentioned it, let's talk about DSP.
I'm banning DSP
Trying to
jokes.
bring it in,
I'm
Ben.
banning DSP
What is this
jokes.
curse? What is this curse?
I'm banning DSP. Do not protect raccoon.
I wish the
Can
internet
I confirm we've all seen Shield Hero?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we've all. All right, cool. So we can. This is probably one of the first shows in a while we can all have a discussion about.
Spoiler alert for Shield Hero.
Everything is spoiler. Everything.
Yeah, we will be spoiling up until episode 4, which is what came out.
Episode 5.
That sure dates this fucking video. Am I right, fellas? The Chinese have yet to invade.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, you're right, 5. I got the number wrong. It is 5.
So I think it's a pile of garbage. Discuss.
I disagree. Discuss.
I
think
I am.
it's-
Everyone.
I'm sat directly in the middle. Discuss.
I think it's the weakest start I've ever seen to a show that's actually gained popularity. Like, the first episode is beyond boring for me.
You know, tying in something later, right? If you're going to go for the dramatic reveal, and I'm not saying that this is something we'll talk about in Promised Neverland, but if you're going to go for a dramatic reveal, get your point quickly. Get it across quickly. You either go for the Madoka slow boil, and you take 7 episodes, and nothing's going
3.
wrong.
3, but all right.
Oh, was it really? Oh.
It's only 3.
Episode 3. That's
it's
Why
volume.
it's why the 3 episode rule exists.
I was very drunk when I watched that show. I was very drunk. But basically, if you're going to go for your reveal, either you slow boil it, or alternatively, you go for it quickly. So you can do it within the first 15 minutes. Your opening should usually give some intrigue, because that's what Neverland does. Like, don't take 40 minutes to get the point across that your guy is sad and he's fucking received a fucking rape threat or whatever. Like, weak sauce.
I agree entirely with your point, Lewis. And I think I'm coloured on the first episode with regards to that because I was drunk watching the first episode and knew basically the twist already. And I was watching it. And I was watching it with Kate, and
watches stuff sober.
All the way through. All the way through, Kate was like, "Oh, I don't think I'm going to like this. I don't think I'm going to like the show." And I was like, "Just wait, just wait." And I felt like I was saying "just wait" more times than I should have been. And then it hit the point, but I think I didn't realize it was that long because I was wankered. Well, Kate was like feeling it and was like, "I'm not interested in the show." Then we got to the twist, and she was like, "I want to watch the next episode." And it is Kate's favorite show this season, and she genuinely gets giddy every episode that comes out.
That's cool. Right. Can we all agree, though? Just like, I only watched it because I knew the fucking controversy surrounding it. Can we agree that if nothing else, it's a very weak opening episode?
Yeah, it takes too long. It should have been 20 minutes.
No, I agree.
Regardless of, because the thing is, I can understand anyone who likes this show. I just don't because it's weak sauce. Not because it doesn't try. It's trying very hard, clearly. It's just a bit weak. But, like, it's the first episode is a bullet to the brain is my problem. And the thing is, I don't know if it's my usual liking of grim dark shows or my usual sort of standards for this sort of thing, but it's just everyone's like, you know what, actually I would have loved Shield Hero a lot more if you cut the episode by 20 minutes and if no one had talked about it, because as it was, I was imagining Goblin Slayer levels of, okay, here it comes, like that is just weak.
No, see, that's the irritating thing about this controversy, because it's not even something that deserves controversy over.
No, I didn't realize it was a controversy until I was told it was a controversy.
It's the usual Reddit circle joke, just spread everywhere, basically.
I have one major distinct issue with Shield Hero that I've got two. First issue. So obviously our big twist is that our hero is actually sad and everyone in the world hates him. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Vaguely all right with this.
Man, they made an anime about my life.
Yeah, Ben, I thought the joke as well. Don't you worry, mate. I was like, I don't want to interrupt you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
4 episodes into the show, that doesn't get resolved, but it kind of gets. Thanks, Ben. Kind of gets concluded. So it's like, but I'm like, if you're gonna have your main character do the whole breakdown and I will be with you to save you thing. Don't do it in 4 episodes. Do the boil. Do what ReZero did and spend 15 episodes until you break your main character's like spirit. That's how to do it.
See, here's the thing, and it's one of the things that I've noticed from the latest bits. I adored episode 4, and I thought that was fantastic, and I was quite happy with the way that it did
it's just
that.
Too early.
I thought the scene was really well done, and I loved the way that it proved that he's got someone, and it was really quite an emotional moment. And I thought that episode as a whole was incredibly well done. However, then the start of episode 5 comes out, and it just goes, oh yeah, by the way, the fact that she chooses him over everyone else, yeah, fuck that, she's got the slave ring back.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention this, but I'm going to mention it now. I think it is really, really weird that he actually buys her as a slave, and I think it's even weirder that she's like, oh yeah, no, put the slavery thing back on when she loses it.
I actually know the reason for this, because Kate watched the 5th episode yesterday and was really worried because of how happy and upbeat it was compared to the rest, that it's going to turn into a generic isekai piece of shit.
God, it did feel generic.
I thought that from watching the preview for it and everything as well. And then she was telling me the stuff that was happening and what's going on, and I got pissed about the slavery thing getting put back on and everything. And then she she went to look up other people's opinions, and everyone was only talking about the chicken lolly because, of course, they were, because
whatever. Ignore the internet. Ignore them.
Then she finally found like 1 or 2 people discussing the slave ring thing and how they didn't like that and thought it was lazy writing. And I was like, yes, thank you. And then there was one guy that actually commented and mentioned why it is, and it's because in the light novels, and this is another adaptation issue, the guy is still super fucking jaded at the world and still being super fucked by everyone, that he still doesn't even trust her at that point. And the only way that after her choosing him, he still thinks she's going to abandon him, so the only way she can prove that she isn't is to put it back on.
and yet that does not come across in any
And that doesn't come across
in the most recent episode.
in the anime.
In the most recent episode, it goes full weeb, and the most recent episode is so incredibly weak because it quite literally just goes, well, all of that happened, this guy still hates the world a little bit, chicken dragon race, and I'm like, are you actually messing with me? This is weak.
It doesn't matter. It's literally the silver bullet that so many other things take, and the only reason it's blown out of proportions because of the interesting premise. The show's got a decent premise, decent to mediocre, depending on your worldview. Because I don't like Isekai, but for someone like Isekai, this is a very good premise. Pacing issues, just silver bullet, straight to the head. It's just got bad pacing.
I will say, I like the show. Like, I'm enjoying it when I'm watching it. I think it's an enjoyable show. It is not this godsend show that a lot of people are kind of making it out to be. It's got its issues. Like, it's got real pacing issues and real tonal issues at that.
Which are related to the pace, I'd argue.
Yeah,
I collapse chapters.
I would say that the best episodes were episodes 3 and 4.
Agreed.
But I also feel like episodes 3 and 4 should have been further down the line.
They are further down the line from what I read after like what Kate said and what I read up on afterwards is they are further down the line and like there isn't that moment, and that's the bit where he's building trust with her, and he doesn't have that trust when the big when she gets freed and stuff.
So they did the same thing as Goblin Slayer. Then they just shuffled around the order.
They shuffled around the order to make it more TV accessible.
I think I also have an issue with. Oh, sorry, Alastair, you can go ahead if you want.
Well, the thing is, because when I first watched the first episode, I had my reaction, which I have a lot of the times when things like this happen in shows.
Oh shit! There's men.
No, I basically went right. I really hate this woman, and I want to suffocate.
Ben, keep the bottle fucking open.
Jesus Christ, Ben.
Oh, for God's sake. I basically wanted to suffocate that woman with my own hands. So I just went, please tell me she gets comeuppance at some point. So I kind of decided to look on the wiki and just went like...
Oh, for goodness sake.
Because I didn't like at the point, I don't care.
But the people here might maybe.
Potential spoiler for the light novels, everyone.
I'm not going to mention anything that wasn't in the anime, Ben.
Ignore my past yelling.
Are we going to talk about the fact she gets all her arms and legs ripped off and the stumps get fucked by goblins? Are we going to talk about that?
What, the end of the Kamega Kill manga?
Are we going to talk about the fact that her name gets changed to bitch?
Who's a bitch?
Yeah, exactly.
That was such a clusterfuck of like 5 people talking.
Oh,
Driscoll boys!
I also think this show's got too much of an issue in that everything's a fucking plot device because it needs to be. Like is it? Alright, let's be honest. Fuck it. Right, putting the slave crest back on. It's a plot device. You got the fact that everyone hates him. It's a plot device. You got the fact it's a video game world, so the author doesn't have to explain progression systems in this world. It's a plot device. Everything's a plot device.
I also just distinctly dislike it's lazy at times. So he turns up and they're like, oh, the shield hero is being the weakest hero. I'm like, okay, it's kind of could be kind of interesting because it kind of be like an up and coming story of proving himself.
Oh, so everyone hates him.
Yeah, and then it just goes to as a result, literally everybody hates him, and this woman wants to literally scam him out of his money and make him miserable. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, like
where did this come from?
From the intro of the show, like the OP, I feel there's more than that's the reason why everyone hates the shield hero. I think there's some sort of like cursed demon bullshit going on with it, because if you see the intro where he's using the shield and he starts getting
the red eyes and all that,
and then Raftalia pulls him out of it. I think that's the reason the shield hero is hated. Nothing to do with them being weak.
You see, I think that's more along the lines of because he's been hated by everyone, he's unlocked, like... It says during the 4th episode, spoiler, curse series requirements met. I think it's more about like the curse of that sort of thing. But
his plot device is enabling other plot devices.
Hugh, can we talk about one of the greatest moments of I've got a slaver shield now. What does it do? I've got a slaver shield now.
Yes, I am genuinely annoyed this show does the whole I'm buying a slave thing, and I'm like, okay, here's what I do. He goes in because like Ben, you explained to me, you were like, oh, it's to show how low he's gotten, but then later on to show he's still got humanity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get that. Here's
Plot device.
Here's what I do instead. So he goes in, he's looking through the merchandise. It's like, oh, these are all the different slaves I've got, and he's just like, yeah, I'm genuinely considering buying one because, you know, the world sucks right now, and he is genuinely in that pit of despair. And then he's going to, out the corner of his eye, spot Raftalia, and that's going to be the bit where he goes, oh, I shouldn't be here. And he's going to leave. He's going to leave, and then as he's leaving, or like later that night, he's going to go, I can't leave her there. And he's going to sneak back in, take her out, and then be like, oh, I can't leave you now. All right, fine. You're going to have to fight for me, though, because I'm not, you know, putting up with raising a kid. And I feel that could have done the exact same like thing that this has done without doing the whole "you're my slave."
How old is she supposed to be?
I don't even give a shit.
I don't know or care.
No, that's fair. I was just curious.
No, I think she's supposed to be. I don't know. I'd guess like 11 or some shit.
I don't.
But demi-humans age when they XP, apparently for sex reasons because people
I was going to
want that.
say it's because of a romance option.
And so, yeah, but he's not interested in her, as has been evident for like most of the bits where he still sees her as just a kid.
Yeah, but I think that's more along the lines of like him just straight up being mentally like broken. There we go.
But yeah, I think he had to buy the slave to show how far he'd gone, because at that point he just didn't care. He just really didn't, and he wanted it done and over with. And he wouldn't have and if he'd left, he'd have not advanced at all. And he's like, no, got to kill things. Guess I better leave.
But to be fair,
Plot device.
the way I would have done it if I was in his position, because he was at the lowest point he could have possibly been. He couldn't have been lower, and they've already proved that they can't kill him or send him away, which because they need him to fight the thing. So what I would have done in his position is literally there and then just turned around and assassinated the fucking princess.
Wow.
But then again, you just
That's cold.
Then you'd
I mean,
just end
if
up in
I
a
was in his
jail, I
position
guess.
and was that low,
But
and
the only
it's-
reason he's
I
not
would've just killed
arrested, the only reason he's not arrested is because they need him, and if he'd have killed her, they would have arrested him.
I just think it's weird.
It's see, the thing is, they need the symbolism, Hugh, because he's not allowed to leave, and he's got to fight the things for these people he doesn't care about. He's a slave to them in this world, so he's got to get a slave, so that when she's freed by him, he realizes he can be freed by the world he's a slave to.
Yeah, the show's not in. The show's not in.
Jesus Christ.
Ben, in the nicest possible way, the show's not intelligent enough to figure that out.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. This is not English Lit Year 10. What do the fucking curtains mean? Fuck off with that bullshit. Next program.
Are we done?
I'm done talking about a show I don't like.
I would like to still hear Alastair's point that we interrupted ages ago.
thank you.
Well, good to know, everyone. Next program.
Well, no, the only point I was going to make is the fact that I knew about the duel, that the duel was going to happen, and when the episode 4 happened, I was like, oh, we're already having this thing? I was just, like, surprised at the fact that it was happening at that point. I was like, I was expecting this to happen, like, way later.
They wanted to get to Chicken Lolly.
It resolves stuff and moves it around, and
Please stop saying chicken lolly.
see,
It's a Chicken Lolly.
I don't care what it is. Please stop calling it a chicken lolly.
All right,
But-
fine. Philo Lolly.
But yeah, as a summary, it's
I'll take
basically
it.
a mediocre isekai.
Filet lolly.
see, I don't really want to call it an isekai.
It's not worth arguing about it. It's got the same tone, sort of in terms of presentation, but it does not have the same like characters or story arc. Like, it's so muddy, and I don't think any of us quite care enough.
I like it. I just think it's got problems.
Yeah,
No, it's to define its genre. I mean, I don't think anyone here cares to define its genre.
I really like the show quite a lot. Episode 5 kind of really broke it broke a lot of my care for the show.
Well, episode 5 felt. This is going to sound really, really weird. It felt anime.
Yes.
And I know it's a really weird thing to say that, because I like anime a lot, but it felt the tone shifted so dramatically It went from our villain being kind of like a bit snide, underhanded, to being just like a straight out and out villain.
Yeah, and they went into the like, oh look, here comes the villain who he lives with, who is now going to berate him randomly publicly. But then the guy's animal will be like, oh no, I don't like you, and kick him in the balls. And I was sat there staring when that was in the preview. I was just like looking at the screen, dead eyed, just like, so they've killed the show.
Indeed. Speaking of a show that does like tension properly, The Promised Neverland's really good.
Promised Neverland is really
Okay, I'll go to sleep for 20 minutes.
Alastair, I thought you wanted us to sell it to you.
Okay, sell this show to me. Go on.
Right, Alastair. I know your problem with the show because me and you have had this conversation. You don't like horror, right?
I'm not a fan of horror. No,
It's not a horror.
It's not a horror
It's a
show.
thriller.
It's a thriller.
I'm not a fan of thriller
fucking
either.
prison escape movie. Like,
Did you just
it's so good.
say you're not a fan of thriller, but you watched Darker Than Black and loved it? That answers my question.
That is the longest silence we've ever had in the podcast history.
Everything that I've seen about Promised Neverland, as in what I've seen, as in visually, and what I've read, it reminds me a lot of basically how it reminds me a lot of like Shinsekai Yuri in the sense of like I feel like it's going to be the same for me if I'm just not going to like the world and the characters and
But
the
Shinsekai
plot
Yuri has so much exposition.
It's a house. Do you not like houses? No, right. Okay, can I just quickly narrate what my sort of thought process through episode 1, right? Because I told Ben about this. Genuinely, I was sat there and I saw a 5-star rating on fucking Crunchyroll, which is rare, even for a good show. It's rare to see that. It's like, okay, and this is not a meme show because I've never heard of it. So this should be okay. So I watched it. The first 15 minutes bored me to fucking tears, genuinely. And I was sat there and I was like, oh, I cannot be bothered to watch this. And I don't know what happened, but that small part of my brain that occasionally makes good decisions just said, no, wait, stop. This has got the same presentation as Madoka, and the opening looked kind of interesting. Stick with it to the end of the episode. Then the intrigue shit happened, and my genuine thought was, come on, please let him be getting eaten or something. Come on. Yes, they're getting eaten!
Monsters!
Yes! There's demons and it's a hot, and suddenly it's a fucking prison escape heist movie! Like, I was so happy. I love this show. I love it.
I'm the same.
I still loved getting to turn around to you, Lewis, when we were both talking about it. And it was less of a talk, we were both just yelling. And then it was just and I believe my reaction to that bit I was like, yeah, I knew something was going on and everything was happening, but I wasn't expecting fucking demons!
Yeah. It's like, okay, the gang Ian, that's pretty cool. Wait, what the fuck? There's these fucking, like, giant, like, semi-eldritch bureaucrats talking about this bitch better be tasty. Just, like, fucking wonderful show. Wonderful.
My favourite thing in the entire show is the fact that after I've shown that to Luke and Kate, and after showing the first episode, my favourite thing to do is to back out and go, "Hey, look at that artwork! They're stood on fucking dinner plates. Look at that."
Oh, you do love that. Like, I was literally watching that first episode, and like I was watching this, like I'd heard, The Promised Neverland's a really good Shonen Jump manga, and I was just kind of watching this first episode, like
It's a shonen.
it's Shonen Jump. I was sat there like freaking Gendo from Ava, just sat there
staring.
staring, like feast, like just straight up staring, fingers down, and I'm just like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen. And then
it happens.
And then she's leaving, and then she's like, "Oh no, she's left her bunny." And I'm like, "There we go. Something's gonna happen."
It's lovely, isn't it? Oh, sorry. I just want to correct myself. I meant it's got the similar presentation to Made in Abyss, not Madoka. Actually, it reminds me a lot of Made in Abyss.
That's what I got.
It still has Madoka, but like
It's got a bit of it.
It does.
It reminded me of Made in Abyss, and the thing is that it's the subverting expectations we were talking about. It's paced perfectly, and I know that you'll just probably disagree with me with this, Ben, because you've talked about how it's a light novel adaptation. I believe it's light novel, or is it a manga?
Manga.
And you've talked about the fact that and you've talked about the fact that they have combined a lot of chapters. If I'm being honest,
I forgot I had this conversation with you and you.
Yes, and I was like, well, we talked, and you were saying that they can. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to read this anyway just to double check this because I love this show. But like the pacing in the anime has been perfect, like on a razor wire, perfect pacing. Like this is a case study for good pacing.
You say that in the manga, it's like, oh, you're missing a lot of like the internal monologue. I'm sat there going, this don't need internal monologue. This is doing this perfectly already. Like it has perfect tension. It's got characters that are perfectly demonstrating exactly what they're feeling through just sheer emotion and acting, without having to specifically go in our heads. My word, am I scared right now?
It's in the acting, isn't it?
I
know. The animation's beautiful.
I know Emma's scared because her pupils have dilated. She's sat in bed and she's hyperventilating at the bottom of the stairs. I know she's scared. I don't need to be told it. It knows what it's doing. It straight up knows what it's doing.
I also like the fact that everything in that show has got a sinister undertone. Because I feel... Because the one mistake that you would have done is to go, oh no, it looks like Mum's actually, like, you know, just a bit weird, but she's a good guy for 3 episodes, then make the reveal. The fact that it's immediately set up, Mum is the villain. You've got this sister character who's really fucking weird, but basically the two of them are the villain. Yeah, the two of them are very well established. It's like, oh, thank God, because the focus is not on the mystery of what's happening, happily. The focus, is on the escape, which is... it does so many things right. So many things.
And I'll also say, it's the first show in a while actually pulled a plot twist that surprised me, and it's not the first plot twist. The first plot twist was like... Oh, do you mean the... I'm not going to mention it. I knew something was coming in the first episode, and I'm like, when it happened, I'm like, I wasn't expecting it to be eldritch monsters eating people, but I knew something was coming. At the end of the 4th episode, there is a plot twist, and I'm not going to say... don't. I am not going to say the plot twist, because that is like one of those big kind of, I want everyone to go in raw.
It's even the perfect plot twist, because the perfect plot twist happens when something is foreshadowed. The audience can either work something out or get a clue, then it's revealed. And that it's perfectly foreshadowed. Oh, God, it's magic.
But so like Ben's like, I guessed it episode 1.
Also, I know this is a very fucking minor thing, which the show does, but like, it's got these children. They are absurdly fucking clever for children. Like, they don't act like children. And then they go, oh, by the way, they're trying to breed you to be intelligent because it makes your brain stays better. Done! Right! Explained! And then it never talks about it again. Like, you've literally taken your one plot contrivance, explained it in a sentence, integrated it into the story, and like, oh, so good.
It just straight up knows what it's doing. It's also, from the way it's going as well, it doesn't look like it's going to sit down and go like, right, we're going to spend 12 episodes straight up not doing anything. It's going to do something, like, quickly.
The only potential complaint I could have is that the characters can kind of be very tropey. But like that is like fuck it when you put it's like they're trope characters but polished to a mirror shine. And what's more, I've got faith in this show because the majority of the tropes is like, I'm the hideously over optimistic one and you're all gonna do what I say, and everyone's like, my God, I mean, it's like Deku basically, horribly over optimistic and everyone loves them. This is the show where I want to see that character watch all their friends get eaten by fucking Cthulhu. Like, this is the show that will do it.
But at the same time, I'm overly optimistic and I want to see all my friends get out. I'm like, this works for this show because children! Yeah, because number 1, they're children, and number 2, of course someone's going to think that. They've been presented with an absolutely horrendous situation that they never knew they were going to be in. I want to get out with everyone because why would I want to leave anyone here? Because God damn it, I'm going to get eaten by an eldritch monstrosity.
This is definitely a show that I want to talk about when it's finished, because our show has not had me this intrigued as to what's going to happen in quite a while.
Drifters may have been the last one for that.
I think the last one for me was a Raise.
Actually, probably Devilman for me. But before then, probably Drifters in terms of a show that actually had me there. Like, what happens next? I need to know. It's a wonderful show, masterclass in pacing, and like it's a masterclass in story. The animation is like fine. But like it's all expression, but it doesn't need to be because the facial expression. Like I probably haven't been this excited to see the end of a show probably since Made in Abyss. Like I want to see Made in Abyss season 2 very badly because I feel like I'll be able to make a fair judgment of it. I want to see it become the beautiful thing I know it can be. Same with this show. I've got such high hopes for this show.
It's gonna go somewhere like that we're not expecting because they're not going to spend I know for a fact this is the sort of show that once they are out of the house and they've escaped, that will not be it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what will the bit be. Like, I'm just looking forward to that. I think it's going to be good.
Wonderful.
I'm purposefully staying as quiet as I can, as
it was noted.
After the first 2 episodes, it genuinely did its job for me I actually kind of went, okay, I think I'm done with the show until it's done. I'm gonna go read the manga.
That's fair. I'm not much of a manga reader, as you know, so that doesn't work for me. But I can totally see why you would. But I almost want to see. I'd read or watch this. If I'm being honest, I'm gonna watch it as an anime. A, because I prefer watching, but B, because I'm getting excited every week of I wonder what happens next. You know what I mean, right? And I'm happy to wait the weeks building the anticipation. And it's a show I don't want to binge watch. And it's so good. This is the show that I want to turn to every now and then. I want to railing against bullshit and things like, oh, but it's fine. It's no, it's not fine. And it's this is the show which I'm hoping I can point to in a few years' time. You want to see how you do perfect pacing and a fucking escape plot? Do that! Watch Promised Neverland. Do what it does. Learn from it. You can be perfect too. And
hey, Lewis, I've realised something.
Oh yeah.
Are you actually praising and saying that your top anime is the same as literally every reviewer's this season?
Yes, it is. And the thing is, it's not even my top anime. My other 2 top anime are loved by everyone else as well. One of the we'll talk about obviously.
Lewis, have you become casual?
I've become Gen Z. Kill me, please. I'll
be there in a minute.
It's thanks, mate. But it's really fucking good, and we've got a near perfect thriller, a near perfect action show, and a near perfect comedy in this season. I don't know what has happened for the fates to bless us so, but I am not exaggerating with my opening comment when I say that this season is better than 2018.
Well, Lewis, I can tell you why. It's because they listened to our podcast and they heard your passion speech.
Fucking hell, I hope so.
Absolutely. Urabuchi-san, if you're listening to me now, I'm ready whenever.
And I can tell you the actual genuine reason, and it's that the 3 shows you're talking about are 3 adaptations of critically acclaimed mangas.
Full Metal Roofing.
Oh no!
Mull-fennel moofing.
All right, you had that.
Nice can we put the picture I posted of Full Metal Roofing on at that point?
Yeah. A shout out to today's sponsor, Full Metal Roofing, for all your roofing and alchemy needs.
I do agree.
We are not sponsored by that company.
I do also enjoy roofing. That's us done with Promised Neverland. Do watch it; it's very good.
Yes.
Alastair, what's next?
Let's split up your favorite 3, so we have a bit of gaps between. Let's go with.
Let's
go into something that I can now talk about. And then I can
Lewis, you're louder than Alastair.
Lewis, shut up!
Then he should fucking speak up.
And it was at that point Lewis knew.
Let's talk about Quintessential Quintuplets, please.
Right, Lewis.
Right, Hugh, fucking shut up, get the popcorn, let it happen.
Right, explain the premise of Quintessential Quintuplets, please.
You basically have a main protagonist who basically needs money, so he gets a job to tutor somebody. And this tutoring job is paying 5 times more than it would normally cost.
Right.
So he goes over to the house and finds out the reason it costs 5 times more because he's actually tutoring quintuplets. So he's basically having to tutor 5 girls who are insanely bad at school, and they all don't want to get tutored for various different reasons, and it's basically him trying to
Right.
get into a position where he can actually tutor them because he needs the money for his family, because they are dirt poor. It is a harem show, but it is not in the harem show in the standard sense of, it's not like ecchi harem, so it's not like your High School DxD or Monster Musume. It's just like, it's just like 5 girls that he has to teach.
It's 5 twin sister harem.
Yes. However,
Right.
none of them really like him at this point.
Except for the fact that 2 of them currently. Lewis just left, by the way. He's back, but there we go.
Right.
You see why me and Ben were like, don't look it up.
So presumably this was to save on budget. Do they all have the same voice actress?
No.
No.
Oh,
They
thank
don't-
fuck
they,
for that.
they don't actually all look identical. They have very different character
They
styles.
there is a quite literal plot point that he is marrying one of them. He doesn't know which one he's marrying.
Wait, re-fucking what?
No, no. You're wording this wrong. The beginning of the show shows him marrying one of them, but we don't know which one it will be.
So this is How I Met Your Mother, the fucking anime. Is that what you're trying to fucking tell me?
Lewis, can we also talk about how the fuck does he not know which of these he's marrying? It's not quite like there's anything.
Oh, why, what
separate.
the fuck? Yeah, Jesus Christ,
At
yeah.
what point does he walk down the aisle? Go fuck. Well, I can't
Why
tell.
do they all have
Clearly,
massive
your face.
tits?
I literally said that.
Fuck's sake.
What is they have identical faces? It's the hair that's different.
I like how you actually said that's the plot, because I think that's summarized about as far as they probably thought. Right, there's the fucking management meeting right there. It's a harem show, yes, but we don't have to pay our animators any more than we currently do. You're hired!
Right, Alastair, can you put this picture up that we've currently got posted? Because I want to play everyone's favourite game of Guess the Personality.
Alright, right, I am the contestant today. I am assuredly the contestant
Yeah.
today.
Oh fuck!
Lewis-
Oh come on!
Lewis, welcome to Guess the Personality, Japan's favourite game show.
Ben, you're also co-host. Don't
You
worry.
are co-host.
Oh, excellent! All right.
This is my co-host, Mr. Ben. Hello, Mr. Ben.
Woo!
Thank you for joining us. And in the audience, we have, of course, Joe and Alastair. Big round of applause for them, please.
I brought Joe here against his will.
They're back. Right. Thank you. Now, today's show is Quintessential Quintuplets, a show brought in by Alastair. Alastair, thank you for bringing the show in. We do appreciate it.
You'll get your check later.
As you can see up on the screen, Lewis, there are 5 girls. Now,
I can see.
we're gonna start with the girl on the right-hand side with the bag and the light pink hair. Can you
Okay.
please guess her personality?
Oh, why'd you start with that one? Interesting.
I'm just
choice.
going right to left.
Oh god, so it's not match the personality, it's match the face to the personality. Okay.
Tell me the personality.
Is the one on the far right the sort of like diplomatic, high grades one who goes out shopping?
Not really.
See, now I've not seen this show. I just got hired to co-host because I'm awesome.
Ben, would you like to make a guess then?
I'd say that she is the she's not like the ditzy one, but she's the girl next door level sort of one.
So I can reveal to you that I cannot remember the name of them because God, am I not that good. that
Good.
on the right hand side, Alastair, if you can back me up on this, is our slightly more kind of flirty, lazy character.
Oh, okay, alright. Okay.
So
Wait,
it's
lazy?
Yeah, so Green Bow Girl.
That's the ditzy one. That's the ditzy, excitable one who wants to take you on an excitable adventure.
Super energetic Oni-chan, yay!
Sekai, well done, completely correct.
Yeah.
There we go.
Not many points for that one, considering that
Not
was
many.
easy.
Considering that's the obvious. Middle one. Can you give me the middle one, please?
Stern older sister archetype who's disappointed with your foot fetish.
Fucking Sundere!
Congratulations. That is again a full point there. Can we get headphones around the neck, girl, please?
Awkward shy girl.
Futaba.tm.
Yep, Futaba was what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yep. Alistair, anything to add?
She has a very big fascination on Japanese history, but that's about it.
Okay, yes. So it's your little otaku scene. All right, fair enough. The one on the left, Tsundere.
So not really tsundere, just straight up dislikes the main character's girl.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
No. We have what? She's the cunt.
Pretty much, yeah.
They're all
Right? Did you just say right? Here's my predictions. Right. So she straight up dislikes the main character. Right.
She will love him by the end of it.
Okay. The one in the middle is framed in the middle, so I'm going to say she's the one that he ends up with because she's framed in the middle and independent from the other two.
Yeah,
you see the other two overlapping, whereas she seems to have her own central space, and also her jumper stands out and design stands out the most, meaning all eyes are gravitating to her. However, I think the only other competitor will end up being the one that absolutely hates him, because they're always the ones that come out of, "Oh, senpai, but I wanted your konnichiwa all along in my konbanwa."
I was saying, call this the smallest problem in the world, but at some design meeting, someone must have said it. Could we not just save 10 times the money and make this a visual novel? And that person got ignored wrongfully.
This would have made a perfect visual novel.
It would have done. That's a nice visual. That's an if not like exciting, certainly standard visual novel premise.
Now we've memed about this show, can I give my review of
Yeah,
this show?
I was going to say, Alistair, you actually want to talk about this show, so do you want to say what you think?
Because I have watched many a harem show, so I have a lot to compare it to. Of the harem shows, and we know most of them are trash, this one is on the top end of them. It's a very good show. The characters are very interesting. The character arcs that they seem to be going through at the moment are all very interesting. I'm looking forward to actually understanding a bit more about these girls, and like there seems to be some quite deep-seated stuff that is happening in various different ways, and I'm kind of just interested to see what's going. If you like harem shows, this is a very good show.
Jesus Christ, you're staring into my soul.
So yeah, no, for all the harem fans out there, this is a very good one. And like I said, it's not ecchi driven at all. It's all just character driven. And
Except for that one point where the girl has a bath towel on and he falls over her and almost grabs her boob.
that's like one scene when these shows normally have like 50 in an episode.
I know, but I just like to point it out because I've heard other people go, "Oh, it's not ecchi," and I'm just like, "That's still a scene." But I get what you mean. It's less ecchi.
It's not like you're watching High School DxD.
To be fair, Hugh, I'm going to do something rare, and I'm going to defend Alastair here.
I was going to defend him as well and say I actually kind of enjoyed
Shield Hero has the fucking lolly falling on them. There are several other shows that have those that we will bring up later on. Every show, it seems, like having one scene where it's like, "Oh no, I nearly grab your bob." Or oh whoops, it's your vagina. It's not. That just seems to be, anime trope.
I don't know. I'm going to defend Alistair and say that I kind of like this show. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's great. It's like I've seen harem shows that I've enjoyed more. But I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, this is fine. This is perfectly adequate. It's very popcorn. It's very popcorn.
I'm not gonna lie. Looking at this, I understand why you'd think I'd hate this a lot, and believe me, I do. But like compared to all the other sort of harem shows that there are, this is fine. It's fine, but like, I mean, this is gonna sound really weak sauce, but like for a harem show, at least it has a premise. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like this elevates into the top of the fucking burning garbage pile for me, because at least the creator one day thought, I'm gonna make a harem show. Why don't I make one with an interesting idea behind it, which also saves work on drawing? You know what? That's the kind of pragmatic idea I support. So even though this is burning trash, I'd rate this as good burning trash.
I'm not going to lie, Lewis. I hadn't heard about this until me and Hugh were the first in, and Hugh brought up he can't wait to see react to this. At which point he told me what it was, and I looked it up, and I just got the initial reaction of like, oh fuck me, and so I was on board aboard the Hugh train. However, as it got described more and more, I was like, oh, it actually sounds like a decent show, alright. Well, fuck me in the arse, I guess.
Can you guys just remind me? I've got a segue into another show that involves this one, so be sure to grab me when we move on.
Okay, well, let me say this. I will, and I think Alastair can back me up on this one as well. It actually looks good. Like it's got a good art style, and the animation's actually pretty like solid.
Gotta say, genuinely, two things that surprised me in this comment. One, Discord's GIF search is fucking amazing. Two, when searching quintessential quintuplets on that GIF search, fuck me, the picture that I posted seems nothing like most of the GIFs the show seems to have.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it just looks alright. Like, I don't know, I think it's just...
that's what I'm saying. Like, it looks better than that picture gives it credit for, because that picture makes it look generic harem. Oh, look, it's got a bit more of a lens flare, or best way of describing it, art style.
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah. Whereas when looking at the GIFs, I was like, oh, okay, actually, this looks like some proper budget anime. Not budget as in like it is in the budget section, as in like it has a budget behind it, you know?
Yeah, this doesn't look like a show that was like a last minute add-in of, oh, we need to fill in a time slot, let's just quickly bash something out.
There was some love behind this.
This was actually had some time and effort put into animating this. It looks good. Like I'm enjoying the show. I'm not pretending that this is the most amazing thing ever created by man.
Oh no,
it
would,
certainly isn't. But as I said, it's trash, but it's on the upper echelons of trash.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I agree.
I think that's the biggest word that's been used on this show ever.
Well, echelons.
Yeah, it's a big word.
And it was said by me. Haha.
But no, this is a lovely show. Though it is worth saying, I would not have had my heart softened to this show if you'd caught me 2 days ago. Because the reason I'm feeling so ambivalent, or maybe even kind to this show, is because Hugh and I... Yeah, the drugs never work. Is because Hugh and I have been watching Saki K on Netflix.
Oh, blimey, are we segueing into this?
We are indeed, because I watched the first 12 episodes yesterday.
Wait, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this, boy?
On Netflix, there is a show called Psyche K and his disappointing life.
The disastrous life of Psyche
and his disappointing ass fucking existence. And like, I'm sorry, I know I got that mixed up, but I prefer my subtitle because I would. But no, it's literally about a mob Psycho 100 level sidekick times 10 who just wants to get on. And it's a lovely, cynical, sarcastic, poke fun at anime show. And it occupies there it is. And it occupies
that one.
Yes, and it occupies a very rare spot for me, which is popcorn show. Yes. I normally have to pay attention when I watch a show, otherwise I usually dislike it. Psyche K is right up there with Code Geass and nothing else in terms of a show I could just watch and enjoy while doing other things. I really like Psyche K. I like it a lot. And it's all about his cynical existence as he has got overpowered telepathic powers, which basically means that he can read everyone's thoughts all the time. Everyone is constantly fucking needy, and he is constantly trying to figure his way out of situations, and I really like it.
It's just a good
I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually know the premise of the show. The only thing I've ever properly seen of it is that as the main character, I looked at it and just went, no, fuck off.
Yeah, that was what I did. And that's the point.
I have universally done that every time I've gone through Netflix to look at a show and seen it added on. I've looked at it and gone, no, fuck off. I've looked through things before of like top comedy shows to look at and stuff like that, and I've seen it there, and I look at the main design of the main character and go, no, fuck off. But I feel like I'm missing out now.
Yeah, well, you mean because I like a show that Hugh likes?
Yeah, I recommended this show and people actually started watching it. So, no, literally, like, I get why you mean that. There is quite literally, it pokes fun at this within, like, the second episode or even the first episode, where it literally goes, yeah, so I've got pink hair, right? Yeah. Do you notice how others have shit hair, right? Yeah. It's because my hair is completely abnormal. I hated that and made everyone else's hair my colour. I hate this. I don't want to have pink hair.
It's wonderful. It contrives powers, then explains a nihilistic, cynical reason why he's yet to use it so far. And every character is an anime trope, which they also mention is because of him.
Yep. Every anime trope exists because he made it exist because, as he puts it, it makes it easier or funnier.
By far the funniest one is a character who believes he is a dark, edgy character.
Oh, it's just
in a fucking anime. And every time he appears on screen, the first 3 seconds of a fucking, like, Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball Z intro appears before Psyche says, "Yeah, that's that dumbass." And, like, it's somehow gotten funnier as time's gotten on. I genuinely have a warm smile talking about Psyche K. It will never set the world on fire, but it's genuinely mellowed me because it's such a funny popcorn show. And I'm now looking at Quintissential Quintuplets, and I'm sat there like, you know what? You might be popcorn for someone else. At least you have a funny premise, and that's Psyche K. And if I found Psyche K funny, someone else may find Quintessential Quintuplets funny.
This is wrong. Lewis has chilled the fuck out. I don't like it.
I know. You're
Chill, we've got a report!
This is the second show I've ever been able to watch for its popcorn. Actually, third. The first one was Code Geass, the second one was Big Order, and now Psyche K. These are all which is brilliant, absolute dog shit, and good respectively. I would recommend Psyche K to anyone who's trying to write a novel and just wants something to binge watch in the background. The dub voice acting is brilliant. The sub voice acting is brilliant. You can watch it either way. I personally watch it dubbed because we're English, and you can literally watch it while goofing off to something else. You'll zone out all the bits that aren't funny, and when the funny bits happen, it'll just kind of reach you. It's a lovely show, really lovely.
Now, my final point before we move on, because I know we're going to move on, and me and Lewis are being passionate about show for once. Oh God, why? I will say.
Wait, what do you mean for once?
Yeah, exactly. What I will say is that the same show is what I mean. What I will say is that comedy always works better in a dubbed format because just straight up comedy is better. When it's in your own
language.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I have now watched 30 odd episodes of Psyche K subbed, and it is as funny as any dubbed show in its sub format. It's still hilarious, mainly down to Psyche's voice actor, who is a very prominent voice actor, same guy who plays like Araragi and Monogatari and all that lot.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's so good. In the English version, it's the same voice actor as Kaoru from Evangelion.
Oh, really?
The thing is, and interesting enough, we've just created a segue, Ben. You're going to like this one. You're going to like it.
Well, quickly before you do the segue, in which case, can I say something about Psyche K?
Sure.
Sure, but the segment's now dead.
Because I just wanted to say that genuinely, for a show that even like you were making me feel like I'd missed out from all this, and I still look at the main character and I'm like, oh, this puts me off. But the way that both of you spoke about it and the way that it's gone on, I genuinely want to go away right now and just watch an episode.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not looking, like genuinely do exactly what Lewis said. Like, start doing some like planning for some shit or whatever, and just have it there on the other half of the screen.
I've watched 12 episodes of Psyche K in as many hours since Hugh's recommended it to me.
Watch one episode, and if it doesn't grab you, don't look at it again. But if you enjoy that first episode, you will just be able to go second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You just blast through it. I've been watching this thing for the last week and a half, and I can just blast through it.
Well, I'm going to watch that tomorrow.
Ben, Ben, do you want to know what's not advertised about that, which you just said?
What?
You know how you say that Psyche K looks like a dipshit and it looks like a generic anime? Psyche K will turn to you and go, "Yeah, you're fucking right. I do look like a dipshit," and then explain why he looks like a dipshit.
No, he does. That's
lovely show. And as a segue, because Hugh made a comment there, which I would generally agree with, which is that you can generally enjoy comedy in your own language. And I think that's correct, because 90% of what you say comes across an intonation less than the words that you said. That being said, I've watched a sub-show this season, which is easily the funniest anime I've ever seen, Love is War.
Oh,
yes!
Great.
Easily the funniest anime I've ever seen.
Yes!
Oh, dude. Look, this is again. What I'm going to go.
Cheers.
Chica is a treasure! It must be protected!
I
God, he's doing
love
this again.
this show. I love it. I have had belly laughs watching this thing. Episode 1 was very good. Episode 2 was like, haha. Episode 3 was like, okay, you're being very funny again. Episode 4, the fact that Dio's his dad and the French bit had me crying with laughter.
The French bit.
So funny.
Do you know what makes that French bit even better? I was doing research and I'm like, what did they actually say in French? And I found the website that was like, this is what they said in French. And the guy's like, oh, I speak French. Oh, so what did they say then? Complete gibberish.
I make it even funny.
I love that. Doesn't, and to me that makes it funny.
I didn't have to look that bit up. I just knew that.
Do you know what might make the show even funnier?
Go on.
Explaining the premise to me.
Okay,
right.
so
Right. Since you did
Yes, you can.
can
Yes,
I
you
do
can.
this?
Yes, you can. Of
Right.
course.
Oh my god, fuck me.
No, let Ben do
It's just an eruption of noise.
Love is War. So Kaguya-sama Love is War. It's a very, very, very popular manga that's recently got adapted by A1 Pictures. The premise is it is a student council in a very, very prestigious school where you've got the president being this slightly poor but quite intelligent, high and mighty guy, and the vice president being a very rich girl who is, again, very high and mighty.
Literally Irina Sama from fucking Food Wars, mate. Like, literally, yeah.
Absolutely. And they basically both are like, I don't like that person, but I wouldn't mind going out with them if they asked me. And then 3 months later, they're both desperate. About 6 months later, they're desperately in love with each other, but are too proud to tell each other and are desperately trying to trick the other one into admitting they love them.
It's
And
so
asking them on a date
funny.
in some way.
And every minor gesture becomes this intricate, thought-provoking game where they're trying to get each other to admit defeat with a beautiful narrator on, like, Kaiji levels narrating the whole thing with a screaming voice.
I described it as Monogatari meets Hinamatsuri, which is just my wet dream.
You see, I describe it as what if Death Note were a rom-com.
Oh, but dude, guys, can we take a moment and appreciate the fact that Kiryu from Yakuza is the narrator?
Yes.
Right.
Kiryu from Yakuza narrated. That got me hyped. Fucking Dio is the guy's dad.
But dude, just hearing Kiryu sat there going, "But love is a battlefield." Kaguya, run.
The thing is, it's difficult to explain comedy, of course, Joe. But like, it's a near perfect premise, and the thing is, the beautiful part about it is, if you've ever liked someone or like had someone like you or been in a relationship, you can relate to the feelings of anxiety and comedy the show presents. It's like the time when, like, you know, my girlfriend at the time was like, you know, being a little bit hard to get, so I thought, I want to trick her into saying I love you, so I went to Toys R Us and bought her a little toy and everything. I went to her and I gave it to her, and then she fucked my roommate, so she sure showed me, and she won that round. But, you know, this round, Lewis lost. That's a true story.
I like the idea that you had the toy and you like walked in and you were just like, "Darling, I've bought you a." Oh,
dude, the bit that fucking got me was you started it like something nice, and the second you said Toys R Us, I was like, "Wait, this brings back memories of a conversation." Then you said, "I bought her a toy," and I was like, "Wait." And then
I went 20 minutes out of my way, I picked a flower on the way home, and then she fucked my roommate. Lewis lost that round, said Kiryu. But seriously, this, like, Joe,
I can prove
you can't sell
in one
comedy.
Sentence why you should watch this show. 4 people. This is a very rare occasion on this podcast. 4 of us agree that this show is good.
yeah.
also, A1 spent the entire budget on one ending.
Yep.
It's got multiple endings! It's got multiple good endings!
Yeah,
They spent the whole budget on watching a treasure dance.
They retroscope animated it. No one retroscopes anime anymore, and yet they did it, and it's so well put together.
It's good.
the third side character who may have been a plot device in any other anime. Hang on, I'm deliberately not saying her name because I want it to be like that fucking thing in this like.
I've already said it, so
fuck you. But like the third character who would have been, as I say, like a plot device in any other anime, turns into her own character, and I'd rather date her than all three of them. Like,
dude, it's because she's the fucking best.
it's because she's a treasure,
It's
and
because
like.
she's the fucking
And the thing is, like, I'm selling this to Joe now because I want Joe to watch it because you'd find it funny. They even take the big boob trope in anime and they make it funny. I didn't get annoyed at the big boob trope. That's how funny this show is.
like they make one joke and it's never mentioned again.
And it's a well-timed joke because you got Kiryu going, "Let me sing for you."
Yes! It's the bit where she just turns around and she's just like, excellent, I've convinced him to go to the beach. But wait, looks at Chica as Chica's like, oh, my swimsuit doesn't fit anymore, and she's like, oh no!
I'd add to your point earlier, Hugh, which is it's got the same tone as Death Note if it were a comedy, because Death Note has a hyper intense, super dialogue rich monologue based tone, which this show copies, and it's just funny, and you can't recommend comedy beyond the fact that, so do you recommend this comedy? It made me laugh, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, who gives a shit about the animation or the art direction, which are both superb? It's fucking funny!
Let's
It's
be honest. Let's be honest. A perfect example of you can't talk comedy. We did both laugh at a straight talking robot anime.
Yes, we did, which we'll talk about one of these days. The Grease. But genuinely, anyone who would consider themselves to have a soul should check out this anime. If you've ever been in a relationship or fancied someone, you should check out this anime. If not, get the fuck out of my YouTube channel and go and hang yourself.
This show is
Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
No, don't. Oh no, we've shelled out. I've got to kill myself now.
Please.
This show proves what
There will
it's like.
never be any Requiem contract.
Like, this show proves like this. I'm going to tell you all off for making jokes that no one gets again.
Mate, what the fuck are you talking about? It's only us that watch this.
Hugh, I got to make Ben laugh, which has made my day, and I'll make my day again when I re-listen to this in 9 years.
That's true. That's what I'm thinking about.
I love the fact that this is genuinely a show I love so much. I was just like, this show's fucking amazing.
It's wonderful.
And I'm just sat there like, well, Lewis has already said everything. Guess I'll just.
I will add one more thing and say it is so.
Is that the
good.
Chica's best girl?
No, it's the fact that it's so good again to see a show that is a full comedy and doesn't try and do comedy alongside something else. It's just gone, no, we're a comedy. Because so many other shows go, we're an action comedy, we're a drama comedy, we're a space comedy. This is just, what are you? Comedy. We're just a comedy.
Yeah, it's just comedy. Also,
we just do jokes.
Also, this is the joke. The reason I found the French scene so funny, like Alastair, have you seen that scene?
Yeah, I know. I watched episode 3 and 4 today. So
Now, you may not get this, in which case, Alastair, because you're multilingual, and God bless you for that.
I understood everything that was actually proper French in that.
As an Englishman, we've all been in the situation of, wait, can you speak French? Of course I fucking can. Oui, je m'appelle Louis. And then someone actually tries to speak French to you, and you go, fuck. And I was so in the character shoot when this woman is berating him in French and he's just going, oui, with some confidence, and I shat myself laughing. Like, I don't think I've laughed that hard since I watched the most recent Frankie Boyle show when I watched that fucking scene.
So story time. So story time. So this is why I found this scene so funny to me. So when I was about 13 years old, I went to Germany, and at the time I had been learning German for like about 2 or 3 years at school. So I felt like, you know, as a kid when you're learning a language and you're kind of enjoying it, you're like, I can kind of do this, right? I was doing it. I went into a shop and decided to buy a souvenir shirt from Berlin. I went in and like I passed it to him, this please, in German, and he's just like, he's scanning it, and I go, oh, it's too hot today, isn't it? Es ist so heiß, ja? And he just laughs and then goes for about 20 seconds in very fast-paced German. And I just sat there staring, going, I have no idea what he's saying. At which point, he stops and goes, and I just went, and laughed with him. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell he's doing. Danke, and walked off.
I related story. Once I was in Germany, I walked into a Warhammer shop and I said, "Do you speak English?" The guy literally went, "Yes, I speak English."
Oh dear. Watch Love is War.
It's so funny. Alastair, segue into one of our in-betweeny shows before I get lost in an action show.
Right, let's just
Vegeta is a treasure. The
Vegeta!
It's just me rewatching ED2 on repeat.
Mate, you think
You're the only fucking one! It's a
ED, Ben.
Oh my god, it's so
I don't care about the internet, I care about you!
Fucking hell.
Oh dear. Alistair, segue.
Just keep recommending me more shows, guys.
I'm now gonna segue into the show that I know that Lewis and Hugh are gonna absolutely hate. But let's talk about domestic girlfriends, shall we?
Now, I've only had the thing is, I'm not quite yet out. As a dragon, I'm at the point where I'm at the midpoint of my interest. I've had this explained to me by Hugh, and I immediately lost interest. Ben seems to like it. I will hear your case.
It was me!
No. You explained it to me, and I was like, okay, it seems shit. Then Hugh explained it to me in detail, and I went, fuck that noise.
Thank you.
Now
I realise that Hugh's a higher budget me now.
Listen, charge less and you'll become higher budget.
Oh fuck, but my prices!
This is your best chance to convince Lewis with anything right now, Alistair. This is him as mellow as he's ever going to fucking get.
Well, I read the manga for this thing when I first saw this announced that this show was coming out. I actually went away and read some of the manga, and I hadn't actually started watching the show until recently because the only streaming service that had it was High Dive, and I was like, I don't have a High Dive account. I can't really be asked. Then Crunchyroll got it, and I watched it, the 4 episodes.
Sorry, High Dive.
Out of interest, Alistair, just a quick thing. What attracted you to the show that when this was in the announcement, you went, yeah, I'll read the manga for this? Like, just out of genuine interest, because I've never seen a show that's been announced and I've gone, fuck, there's a manga for that, I'll watch that. Fuck me. I'll read that. I've always just gone, I'll read the show because I've not heard of the manga, so I'm not going to go balls deep into it. Whereas clearly there was something there for you that attracted you and went, I want to read the manga of this to get to know this, and I'm very intrigued as to why, like, what that was. Also, sorry for interrupting. Fuck me, that was a segue. Jesus Christ, kill me.
Well, I'm not going to lie, when part of it was me thinking with my lower half of my body.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So was it the sister or the teacher?
Have you lost the interest now, Lewis?
Well, I mean, the moment that we start talking about Alistair's penis, I'll admit that certain interests do decrease. I don't mean to insult you, Alastair, but...
And certains in...
But listen, I've seen your thighs, and I'm just... You're ruining the image.
Okay, anyway, no, what... The thing that drew me to the show is because I do like romance shows. I've enjoyed quite a few different romance shows in the past. And I've always been struggling to find one that...
Includes the teacher.
Well, no, for me lives up to the level of, like, the shows like Toradora and stuff like that. It's hard to find shows like that, and there are very few of them. And this one was a bit more of a modern seinen romance, which I had only really seen one of those before, and that was Scum's Wish. So I was like, oh, this is slightly interesting. I'll read a bit about it. The characters look interesting, and I just decided to read it.
Don't you bring Scum's Wish into this. You leave Scum's Wish out of this. Scum's Wish is a treasure of a show that you need to leave out of this.
They're both seinen romances.
Yeah, but Scum's Wish is good.
Anyway, so basically this show, it intrigues me a lot. As I've realised we haven't even mentioned the plot of the show. It basically involves a student who goes to a party and then basically ends up banging a girl because she's like, I've never had sex and I want to know what it's like. So he basically goes, well, I'm probably never going to see you again, so let's bang. Happens.
I was under the impression it was more of a, hey, we're meeting up at this mixer thing where we meet other people. Then she's like, hey, I want to lose my virginity because I feel I'm losing out on something here. You seem like you're inexperienced. And he goes, well, I guess, yes, I am. And she's like, cool, that's perfect. Let's go back to my place. At which point he's questioning it the entire way, is the way that I saw it. But...
Well, yes, no, he's questioning it, and the point is the reason she picked him is because like he's inexperienced, and she's like, well, if you were experienced, you might take advantage of me. But this is not the main plot of the show. Essentially, this thing happens. They think they're never going to see each other again, and then the next day, a few days later, he finds out his dad is remarrying, and he meets his new prospective mother and her two daughters, who happen to be, one, the girl she banged, and two, his teacher, who he has a crush on. So that's basically the premise of the show, and it goes from there. And yeah, that's where the show starts and goes from there. I'm enjoying the show a lot. I enjoyed the first 4 episodes. I've read further in the manga, obviously, and I enjoy what the rest of it is. And I can slowly hear Lewis dying.
Sorry, go on. It sounds like a really bad show. It does, doesn't it? It's just the more you say about it, the more I'm just like, I am justified in my opinion of not liking this show. What the fuck? This is a clusterfuck! Alastair, continue. We're just having a moment.
Here's what I want to take over, Alastair, because I genuinely want you to sell me this show. Like, actually, I want you to sell me this, because here's the thing about this show. Domestic Girlfriend is a show that I watch. The OP, I will say absolutely, 100% is... Oh! It's brilliant, it's fantastic. The OP for this show is something above extraordinary. But I've watched it, and I've watched, I think, about 2.5 episodes. And I can't... well, obviously, I can stop watching because I'm halfway through an episode, but I can't stop myself keep going back to it and watching some parts of it in my spare time when I'm not watching other stuff.
Certain parts,
because I'm just like, well, no, it's
certain
not even,
parts.
It's not even like that, Joe, because it's not presented in any form of ecchi fashion.
No, it's literally that first scene.
It's really not done in an ecchi fashion. Even the first scene is just there's a girl who you see her back while she's naked, and that's it. And then it goes through, and it's like I don't know what it is, because I look at the show, and in all intents and purposes, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, you got this woman who you love and you really like, that's your teacher. I'm like, all right, that's creepy enough. Okay, now she's your older sister. That's even creepier. Oh, and you banged her sister. Okay, what the fuck? And then I'm sat there watching this, and I'm like, this feels like such trash. But I keep coming back for more. And I don't know if it's because I'm trash, or if because I've bought into the idea from reading from other things that there's so much more to this and it goes that much more in depth. So this is one that genuinely I would really love to sell it to me, Alastair, because I've heard a lot of good things, but in my head I can't help just like that
guilt.
Thing is twisting of it's trash, it's trash, it's trash. But I don't want to think that, because I've heard so many good things and I really want to get into it, and I'm already coming back over and over going, so please sell me this show.
Well, the thing is that at the moment, I would say it's barely scratched the surface of the plot and the relationship that he's going to build with.
Is it based on anything?
It's based off a manga.
All right.
And basically, it's I think one of the reasons like a lot of people go back to it is because it's more of a, it's because it's a seinen romance and not a. It's meant for an older audience. It has all the themes in it. Interestingly enough, my opinions on the story itself changed slightly between manga and anime. So one of the big debates online is like whether you're oh god, I've forgotten the name of one of the girls. I think whatever. It's like whether you're team older sister or younger sister. And when I was reading the manga, I was like on the older sister side, as like she was my favorite girl. And then when I watched the anime, I was actually on the younger sister side. Because both of them have interesting characters in the sense of they're both very different. They both have layers to their character, which you don't really see at the start, but you get an inkling of, and you keep getting more background info towards them and finding out stuff. I just think it's because it's a compelling story of the fact that you just want to know what happens. I think that's probably one of the reasons you might be continuously, going back to it, of the fact of like, yes, it is trash, but in some way I kind of want to know where this is going and what's going to happen. I mean, that's for me anyway. That's one of the reasons I read the manga. Is like I kind of want to know where this. I kind of want to know what's going to happen. I kind of want to know. Oh, will he end up with one of them, or what's going to happen, or like, is something completely different going to happen that you're not expecting? Who knows? But so far I find it just. I kind of want to just know what happens. Is the thing. That's basically the thing. It also looks good.
How many episodes is it going to be? Do we know? Or
I think it's going to be 12.
Okay, well that sounds about reasonable. At least you can pace for that amount of time.
I mean, the pacing so far seems right from what I read in the manga and how it's going.
How long is the manga? Is the manga finished, or is it?
No, the manga's still ongoing.
Okay.
I
guess I just had this fucking described to me, and basically it just sounded like every trope under the sun, basically, like somehow combined into one.
Yeah, no. The issue with the show is I don't think the description of it really like helps its case, because as you see when I described it, you guys just immediately go. Ugh!
I'm not gonna lie. Like I was just laughing because every sentence was just a new fucking trope. If you would say, and then it's his teacher, okay, and then and then the dad, all right, and then she turns out to okay, and you know what I mean? Like it just kept fucking going.
Yeah, no, it does keep going. Like there's a lot of like tropes in it as the premise goes. But I think it's like the execution of those tropes is done quite well. Is the thing.
I think sometimes that's all you need is a good execution. Like, look at My Hero Academia, tropey as hell, but they executed it perfectly. Like, perfectly.
Yeah, but yeah. No, executed it. Like, well, I mean, one could argue as to its perfection. I certainly fucking would. But, like, I mean... is this like a trope then, would you argue? The fucking, like, main character who's got an unusual sexual relationship. Like, is that a trope now, or...?
I really don't know, honestly. I don't think it's a trope yet.
No, it's not really... I wouldn't call it a trope yet. It doesn't, like... hasn't happened enough.
Anime and sex is still very coy.
It's weird. It's very coy.
Very coy.
That's the right way of putting it, yeah.
I mean, again, look at Clanad After Story. Nagisa got pregnant after having a handheld.
Yeah, with a throwaway line, by the way, Mum, we've begun to sleep next to each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
No. We had sex and sex makes babies.
We had sex and sex does make babies.
I don't know. I think the issue I have with it, like... I think I just found the premise weird. Like, I can completely understand why someone would watch and enjoy this show, and I'm, again, never going to sit down and say, you're not allowed to enjoy this show because I did not enjoy it. I read the premise and went, I'm just not, because it just felt weird to me. And I just didn't want to... I'm not going to bring this down, because if you like the show, you like the show. I'm not going to bring it down.
I mean, that's the thing with a lot of these things. and that's especially something I found like this season, and also just recording these podcasts, is some shows out there that you may not like because of their premise can be like really good shows, but you just don't like them because of their setting and premise.
No,
Whereas-
it's true.
So, like, I mean, like when you guys were talking about Promised Neverland, like that you got like you sell it, and you obviously it must be a really good show for the amount of people who like it and like how you sell it and all of that stuff. Just the premise does not interest me, and for this, it's probably the other way around. Of like this premise completely doesn't interest you, but for those who the premise it does interest, it's a decent show. So it works. Like there's something out there for everybody, and not everybody likes everything. So because if everybody did, it would be boring.
It would be a very boring world. I was about to say if everyone did like everything. I've said that often.
No, absolutely, and I think this podcast is a good mix. That everybody has different tastes, and it is again weird that we found shows that everybody likes. Because
Let's
it's
go
just
back
weird.
to one of those.
That way, Alastair.
Yes.
On to the next one I haven't seen.
Joe, what have you seen?
Fuck
He
all,
hasn't.
like, I'm,
He
a,
hasn't.
I'm a terrible anime fan at the moment. Like, I shouldn't even be here. Fuck it, I'll go. Sorry.
That's
no,
alright,
I
man. No one
think
blames you.
He's gone. There he is.
no,
Very fine.
to be fair, like some of these shows that we've been talking about today, I haven't watched till recently. I only watched extra shows because I knew we were going to do this podcast. Because this season, honestly, even though the season has been a very good season, this was the season where I was in kind of my like, I don't want to really watch as much anime anymore. I want to go and play video games. I want to go and do something else, which is why I was kind of behind on this season until this podcast, and I just watched a bunch of shit to like update myself. But yes, it's a very good season. Sometimes you're just not in the mood. You want to do something else.
It improves the same for me. Like exclusively video games. I have been so busy with the games recently. The next one comes out tomorrow. I don't get breaks.
And you know what the best show this season is?
Go on.
It's Dororo.
Yes, it is! And you know what? What a wonderful segue as we talk about the best show of this season. A 1960s
Oh, what you mean,
manga
Sekiro the
adaptation.
anime? No.
Hi! Right.
The 1960s manga about the kid who gets.
said that.
I know.
Sorry, I can't hear you over you all shouting over each other. What's the premise of the show?
Right. Fuck,
Right, Ben's
fuck
turn.
off. Fuck off, you all. I'm taking this one.
To be fair, Hugh, you did get the last one.
No, I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Ben's turn.
Right. So, essentially, it's set during medieval Japanese times. Times. Ooh.
Sengoku Jidai.
I was going to say, that's
where-
already perfect for me.
where essentially a leader of a small area makes a deal with several demons, forgoing Buddha and giving up his regular gods, and making a deal with demons saying he will give whatever it takes, he will give up whatever it means for his land to prosper and him to gain power. At which point his wife, when giving birth to his first child is born without any skin, any arms, any legs, without
Eyes,
a nose,
ears,
without
no
a
senses.
tongue, eyes, nose, can't feel pain. At which point he reacts with, "Excellent! The demons took my offer. We're gonna do great."
And thus the main character is born.
So he sends the midwife off to drown the abomination. At which point she's like, "You're still desperately trying to breathe. I've drowned so many kids. Why do I feel bad about this one? Fuck it. I'll put you on a boat and send you out." Then she gets fucking murked.
She does absolutely murk.
Not to interrupt you, lest you fall into the same trap. Please don't.
I'm not
describe the entire
falling into
show.
the same track. Don't worry. Basically, the kid grows up, goes through, and can see a general aura of someone's soul and what it's like, whether it's grass or trees or animals or people or monsters.
It's
And he
worth
sees
mentioning
the
at this
feel.
point. Demons and shit are everywhere.
Yeah.
like
It's
So-
Japan.
yeah.
So
It's yokai.
he goes around and basically starts killing these demons because it's all he knows, with his prosthetic limbs all over his body that are basically replaced with swords in some places where he can pull his arm off and pull out a sword and shit. And so he goes through, but as he kills these demons, he gains back the things they took from him. So he gains back his skin, he gains back his sense of sound, he gains back a leg, he gains back an arm, that sort of thing. He gains back his ability to feel. And as he kills these monsters and moves through, he gets these things back. And one of my favorite things is that comes from it, that especially the latest episode becomes very, very obvious from it. He gets weaker.
I was about to say, is that
He becomes more human. Like,
he can feel pain.
It is a story about becoming more human and how being more human makes you better in some aspects and worse in
Weaker
others.
in others.
This show is close to perfect. I'll say
Yes.
that now. Basically, we start with a character who can feel nothing and do nothing. And now, whereas most shows would go, he's suffering, that's the point, they use it as a central premise to build off the fact that he effectively gains ways of expressing himself and emoting as time goes on. First of all, he starts with just his hands, because the only thing he can really emote when he touches people to show affection, right? Then he gets his hearing back, so he begins to listen to a lady who can sing. Recently, he's got his voice back, so now he's going to presumably learn to talk and everything. The scene where he regains his hearing and the entire world is, but bafflingly, like the most recent David Cage game where you regain your hearing, a total wall of sound.
It is one of the... It is so well shot, every part of that scene. He basically regains his hearing to a ear-shattering sound of rain
while it's raining in the
pumping down,
forest.
and he stares forwards, but above all else, his sound focuses on something he's just done and a woman crying in the background, and he focuses, and as he focuses more, the sound becomes more and more deafening until the episode just ends.
It's such a good premise.
It's even better when, in the beginning of the next episode, you feel that actually, because he's not had this hearing, that literally one of the other characters says the phrase, just completely offhand comment, "It's so quiet here, it's eerie," and yet the main character is sat on the bed, hands over his ears, because everything is so incredibly loud to him, he cannot deal with it.
Because he's never heard anything. And he goes through that, and I think another one of the bits that shows how great this is when he regains the sense of voice.
And he just screams.
Yeah, instead of hearing anything,
It's a baby's
words, any amazing thing, you just hear a straight scream. A non-stop scream of agony.
The thing which I love about it, though, is the fact that as someone who has had a kid brother and remembers it, it's not a straight scream. It's a baby's scream. It's a child yelling. You often see the world from his perspective, basically. Hikamaru, that's his name, isn't it?
Hyakimaru, yeah.
Hyakimaru,
yeah. And basically, you often see the world from his perspective, where everything is muted, and all he can see is a faint shape of, a tree or a person becoming close to him or going far away. And you get the feeling like this person has never been able to interact with the world around him. And as you begin to progress through the series and be able to interact, the thing is, it's grimdark as fuck is the other thing. It's almost standard Japanese fare in terms of women are there to be impregnated to get raped, samurai chop each other's fucking limbs off, war is constant. It's fucking grimdark.
Every single child is poor.
There is genuinely a line when when his dad, who gave him up and told him to go drown, and his mum's there please, if he's going to die anyway, just let him die in my arms. The dad, who is the head of the nation, basically just turns around and goes, "Oh no, don't worry about him.
Let's just make another one!"
He just goes, "He's nothing. Besides, you'll give me another."
It is quite literally a show that pops itself in its time period really well. It doesn't feel okay, this is the one issue I have with some a show like Drifters, where it felt like they'd taken modern sensibilities and put that on historical characters. Same with Fate.
Yeah.
This specifically feels like historical characters in a historical setting.
All men are soldiers or soldiers and rapists or farmers and downtrodden. That is it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's difficult to recommend this show by talking about it because it's the tone and the presentation that makes it perfect, which is the reason why it's such a perfect anime, because it wouldn't work as a film or a Zoe trope or as a fucking audio album. because the whole thing is about your perception through this character.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it
weirdly
is.
enough, it didn't work as a manga because this is like we said, a manga from the 1960s that wasn't very popular when it first came out.
It's already had an adaptation as an anime before as well.
It has gained massive notoriety since the 1960s. It has become one of like the classics to the point where you can find this thing and you can see everything that's been done about it. This is the latest adaptation of it. It's not the first by any means.
But also one thing you've really got to give them props for: the original art style is like original Devilman art style.
It's 1970s Japanese manga.
Well, you can see there one little like nod to that in the opening where so it's called Dororo, and that
The opening is also lovely.
Well, the opening is wallpaper bait. You can pause
Everything is over.
You can pause any moment of that opening and just go, well, there's my new wallpaper.
Yeah. So the only bit within the opening which shows off this 1960s style is Dororo is the name of the kid that travels with our main character. I don't know why it's called Dororo. It just is. Whatever. It just is. There is one bit in the thing where it shows Dororo upside down, beaten up, and he just kind of smirks at the camera, and it's like a 1960s style smirk. That's literally at this point the only reference to the fact that the original art style is 1960s.
To Devilman Crybaby's credit, you cannot beat the fact in Devilman, its reference to the original Devilman is Devilman exists in that universe.
Yeah.
And they often listen to the soundtrack and the fucking kid reads the Devilman manga.
Oh no, that's better. But that's why it's our show of 2018.
I'm Devilman!
I'm willing to call already that Dororo is probably going to be my show of 2019. It's the best action show and emotive feel show made since Devilman Crybaby. And this is in a season where I'm literally going to call Love is War is the best comedy I've ever seen in fucking anime. And The Promised Neverland is up there with fucking Madoka and Maiden Abyss in terms of thriller. I cannot emphasize enough how much we have been seemingly blessed by competent people in that this season just does it. And Dororo is the best. Right, if Devilman hadn't come out recently, Dororo would be the best action anime I think I've ever seen, next to maybe Gurren Lagann. And even then, the two shows have got such a different appeal. Whereas Gurren Lagann has got the whole like hyping up and building up scale thing, Dororo puts you in the head of the protagonist who can neither see nor hear nor feel, and it makes you empathize with this unbelievably alien entity. And the fact that the main character is so sympathetic talks to how good the animation and how good the setting and the cinematography and the framing is. And like in the most recent episode, I got goosebumps when basically the character has regained his hearing and he hears a woman sing. And that's the thing which makes him want to hear things again, because he can hear a person singing. And
everything else is like pain to him in the ears, and he hears that, and that's...
And it's well timed, because my favourite band's released a new fucking song, and listening to that gave me the same goosebumps. And when I saw that character lower his hand from his ear and listen to this simple song of this Japanese girl, I felt the same goosebumps I imagined that character was feeling.
The contrast to her singing that in the way she does at the end of the episode is so perfectly done.
Now, that was an easy call, and I'd say
it's an easy call. I called it from the second.
But like, here's the interesting thing about Dororo. The worst parts of Dororo is where we're not seeing the world through our protagonist's eyes. In those cases, it still would be the best anime of 2019. When we see the world from our protagonist's, air quotes, eyes, it's probably one of the best anime I've seen.
I would say one of the bits for me which really, really showed the shelf as being just a show that can show things without having to put them directly in front of you and like give you the subtitles and everything.
Please say episode 3.
It's episode 3 is good.
All of it! I don't remember what happened in episode 3. It's all good.
It's the bit where he sat. It's the most recent episode, and he sat on, and our main character just sat on the steps, and the girl comes back, and she's just like, "Oh, what are you doing out in the cold?" And he just looks at her and points at her, and then points at his mouth, and just starts opening and closing his mouth. And everyone's just like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" And you just kind of sat there, and you as an audience are going, "What the hell is this guy doing? Is he trying to talk?" And then in the middle of it, you're just like, he wants her to sing, and it suddenly just hits you that
Yeah.
this guy has never communicated properly with another human being before.
No, he's just walked
and,
through.
And for one of the first times ever, he not only wants something, but he is having to ask for it. And so he's desperately trying in his own little way to ask for something.
And it's so beautifully done.
And it's just such a little bit of them just going, oh, he wants me to sing. And her going like, well, why would I? Okay, I'm going to sing. Because she's just, she half goes, no, this would be silly. But anyway, there we go. Whatever.
With that bit, can we take a moment to appreciate the bit where he's like, he can see the color of your soul, where despite the fact it shouldn't matter, she covers herself up.
Yes,
Yeah.
because she thinks she
feels and thinks she's dirty. That is so well done.
It's also worth mentioning, given that we were talked about earlier, this is a show I could never watch dubbed because it's so Japanese. You have to watch it sub.
Yeah.
And like the presentation of it matters in that respect, and it's so Japanese. Like you could not watch this in any other way. And like, it's when you empathize for a character with no skin, eyes, ears, mouth, or limbs. You've done well as a show. When you've made us feel for that guy, you've done well. You know what I mean? It's beyond pity. You want this guy to hear the song. You want this guy to see the world. You want this guy to cry out and say how good things are.
I have one specific thing I want to praise, especially above all else in this show. And that is, I think it's episode 3, which has the guy who makes the false limbs for...
Yes! The side story of that guy.
That episode is a masterpiece. Because the episode starts in full colour with the guy doing bad shit, crucifying people, building crosses and nailing people to them for an oppressive emperor, at which point he throws himself off a cliff intending to die. But he doesn't die, he gets picked up and decides that he wasn't meant to die to do something good. So he's building the limbs for people and doing shit, and the whole episode from that point is black and white. Because that's the way the guy's seeing the world, because it's done in black and white. And he's got his apprentice, and when his apprentice is building up, you see tints of colour in the scene. Like, if you pay attention, there are bits where colour returns to the scene at that point.
It's the blues of that scene.
Yeah, exactly. And then he leaves, and it sullens back into black and white. And then he
It would be inferior if it weren't anime.
Yeah, and he finds Hyakumaru, picks him up, builds him up, goes through the years with him, and it's the final moment where he gives Hyakumaru something, and he returns it by just putting his hand on the guy's cheek, despite the fact he can't feel anything, feeling his face, and then going in for the hug, and the colour returns to the world, because suddenly something good has happened, and this guy's life has led to something, and
he suddenly
all of
feels
it,
like he's done something good,
and he's done something good despite all of the bad he's done, and it meant that, and combined with that and the things you've got from the main protagonist in the previous episodes, it just amalgamates to such a fantastic scene when you've seen the colours build up in the previous bit to drop again, to not even have a build up, just straight grey because he knows that he's going to lose him. And then the hand touches the face. You see a waver of colour in the background. Like there's a little bit that comes across almost in a streak. And then when the hug happens, like fully, it bursts and explodes out. And it is so beautifully shot. That episode itself is just so well done.
Do we happen to know how many episodes the actual series
They
is?
think it's going to be 24. It's a double core.
Okay.
At least.
I hope so.
It's double core, there's no official number yet. But I'm looking
perfect.
forward. I'm looking forward to just seeing where this goes, because I can tell where the final climax is going to be, what it's going to be, but I don't care, because it's going to be the journey, not the destination.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, Hyakumaru is going to kill his dad, and something will happen. That was the end of this series. It has to be.
I think the big clash will be
His brother.
His brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the end of the series is regardless of what happens, he kills his dad, and then the show is over.
You know what I want? Nothing more from the kills the dad bit. I want
Go
the
on.
dad to put up a resistance, and it's just like one shot done. The final boss was nothing. The second to final boss, that was the fight.
Because the whole point of the show is Himaki Maru's world and how it evolves with us as we watch the show. And I think it's probably one of the most perfect shows I've ever seen. I'm looking forward to seeing the end of it. What a season! What a fucking season!
What a season!
Perfect popcorn show, perfect comedy show, perfect action show, perfect thriller show.
Does anyone have any shows that they don't want to talk about, but they want to just recommend or say, I'm watching this and I'm liking it?
No.
You should watch Boogie Pop because Hugh wants you to watch it.
Oh, Boogie Pop's not just the only one. Alastair, do you have any shows you're watching that you think people should watch?
The only other show I can probably mention, and I mean the people who are probably going to watch this are people who are already watching it. The third season of Date Alive is probably so far the best season of Date Alive. So
I disagree. First was better. Although, then again, I find it hard to say that because Kurumi wasn't in the first season.
well, I mean, I've only seen the first 2 episodes of it because I'm just I'm watching it dubbed, so I'm watching it when Funimation releases each episode simuldubbed. So I'm like 2 episodes behind, but I'm enjoying this more than the other 2 seasons because it actually I like the thing that he has to do. Like I kind of like the puzzle that is happening with this new. I've forgotten the term of what they're all called, but it doesn't matter.
But Kurumi.
But Kurumi. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, no, I just, as a quick just mention for people who have seen Date Alive, Season 3 is good.
Season 3 is good. Time Waifu is still there.
I know, yeah, no, Time Waifu's best waifu, but...
Liza?
Oh,
Joe, do you have
Stop
any
making references no one will get!
Nani? Joe, do you have any recommendations?
The Dragon Ball Z Super movie that came out was great. Doesn't even matter if you don't even know anything about Dragon Ball Z. It's basically if you wanted to watch a Superman style movie, it's actually really good.
You know, let's watch that together sometime. That'd be good fun. We'll do it next week when Hugh's around.
I'm
But,
glad that's being planned on the podcast.
No, that's the point.
Allow me to throw into the works. I can't come down next week.
And you know what? And you know what, listeners? As Joe drops that bomb, which means that D&D is going to be cancelled.
Oh no, I'll just be Discord.
I think. I think it's important to remember that seasonal anime does have its drawbacks because, for the most part, you'll have a season without much in it, or you'll have 2, maybe 3 shows a year where everything's important. On the other hand, every now and then, you'll have a good fucking show. No one cares about Hugh's opinions because he watches everything.
Alright, fine.
Goodbye, listener.
Boogie Pop's good and watch how clumsy you are, Miss Ueno. Now get out.
Get us out.
Floppy hand Boogie Pop is all. Leave now! Oh, those are Driscoll boys!
Craig, get us out of here.
I apologize for these idiots.
I fucking love you, doll, and I'd take any one of you at any time.
Baka. Baka podcast, Baka.
Lewis, win.
Inappropriate words for Love is War. Au revoir.
Au revoir, listeners.
Don't you mean rabble gaboo?
Stop trying to get the last words in.
I don't need no last words, you little boy.
Roof Metal Alchemist.